Hello, my name is Daniel Daly. Welcome to the Basketball Soapbox, episode 37. It's been winding down the NBA season, and we're finally getting towards the end of it. Playoff battles are happening, seeding positioning is happening, playoff teams, play-in teams trying to get in. A lot of things are going on, but we're going to talk about one team that has been falling off the tracks here, and that is the Dallas Mavericks. And they are 37 and 41 on the season right now. And people are pointing the finger at Kyrie Irving so far. And I'm like, no, I don't think that's the right move. I don't think that's the right person to blame in this situation. People are looking at Luka Doncic saying his defense isn't up there. And let's be honest, both of these guys, when you look at the scouting report, when you look at anything on these guys, defense wasn't on the strengths. That was never their strength. That was never their calling card. Scoring the basketball, being a facilitator is more in their wheelhouse, to say. So I'm not going to blame Luka Doncic. I'm not going to blame Kyrie Irving. I'm not even going to blame Jason Kidd, who people are trying to basically, he looks like he's going to take the brunt of this so far. But let's be honest, the Dallas Mavericks have a Mark Cuban problem. That is the issue with the Dallas Mavericks right now. Bad management. And this stems from even the championship years with Dirk and those following teams and just the failure to build around him. So this has been going on for over a decade with the Dallas Mavericks, right? Like, of course, they had that championship run with Dirk. They stumbled there. I'll get into that. And now we have this new iteration of the Dallas Mavericks with Luka Doncic. And they're in that same rut again. They're trying to find pieces to put around him, figure out what they're doing. But the Mavericks have just made bad move after bad move. And let's get into that. Obviously, the failure to keep the 2011 championship team together. What I mean by that is they have an amazing run in the playoffs in 2011. One of the best runs ever in basketball history that you could possibly say at that point in time. To put something together like that with that team was remarkable. We can't even ignore that. They beat the Portland Trailblazers in the first round. They go on to beat the Kobe Bryant-led Los Angeles Lakers. I think that was Phil Jackson's last series, or was it the year after? But they had Andrew Bynum, Paul Gasol, Kobe Bryant, all that stuff. They weren't favored in that. Then they beat the Oklahoma City Thunder. The young boys of Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook, James Harden, that team there. And then they beat the Miami Heat. The Miami Heat, who were favored all year. The Heatles, LeBron James, Dwayne Wade, Chris Bosh. They put up one of the masterful performances on the year. And they won the championship, led by Dirk. Jason Terry played remarkable. Tyson Chandler, most impressively. That team had Peja Stojakovic and Deshaun Stevenson. Just a good cast of guys. Jason Kidd, Sean Marion, guys that know their roles, veterans, all know how to play their roles. Really got after it on the defensive end. Shot the ball well, scored well, played great. Led by Rick Carlisle as the coach. One of the best championship runs from a team that wasn't favored to win the championship like that. Moving forward, in the offseason, of course, Mark Cuban has a wandering eye. He doesn't want to lock down Tyson Chandler at that point in time. And I thought that was one of the biggest mistakes because Tyson Chandler was the perfect piece next to Dirk Nowitzki. A guy that didn't need the ball, a guy that can finish around the rim, a guy that's a tremendous rim protector. Dirk Nowitzki is not a rim protector. He's not a mobile guy. He's not going to defend in the post. That's not his calling card. And that's basically the end of that, right? Like Tyson Chandler was that guy for them. And next year he gets traded, sign and trade, and he gets traded to New York for a bunch of pieces that don't really matter. That hurt them tremendously. Peja Stojakovic retired. I believe they brought in Delonte West, a couple other guys there to try to man the front. Vince Carter. Lamar Odom. They tried to just revamp this team in a way that I didn't think was going to work. And you basically take away the identity of that team that really just went through the playoffs and went on a tear. And you lost all your defensive intensity on that side of the ball. And especially giving up Tyson Chandler, giving up that foundation next to Dirk. And that was the end of that team. Now, moving on to just the failure to build around Dirk Nowitzki. This guy's a Hall of Famer, your franchise player. We all know about the statue being built out. That was built out in front of the arena, well-deserved. A guy that had his whole career there, 20-year career there, gave it his all, went through everything, especially in the 2006 finals, losing that, basically having to reinvent himself to get back to the top. And he did it in the Dallas Mavericks uniform. And just the years afterwards, they just didn't build the team correctly around Dirk going forward. Of course, there's going to be a down period, of course, when you lose guys like Tyson Chandler and you lose guys like Jason Kidd. But just the failure to build anything back around him. You bring in Elton Brand, you bring in Vince Carter, you bring in Darren Carlson, Jay Crowder, Eddie Curry. These are just a couple of names that I'm naming. O.J. Mayo, Delonte West. How was that helping your Hall of Fame player? I just don't think so. So they were able to turn around and get to 49 wins one season. Monte Ellis came in. There was a shock for them, bringing some type of offensive value next to Dirk Nowitzki. You're sitting there like, how is this team winning? And, of course, Rick Carlisle is a great coach. He's going to figure out he's going to put it together. And they end up winning 49 games one year. The next year they win 50. And that's the year they bring in Rajon Rondo. When they bring in Rajon Rondo, that's something that took a step back. And he rubbed elbows wrong the wrong way with Rick Carlisle. They never got along day one. Rondo came from Boston. They picked up Dwight Powell and Rondo in a trade with Boston. And everything just seemed to shift with that team, right? Like, they never got off on the wrong foot. You brought this headache into the locker room, despite even winning 50 games, and it just went haywire. It just went downhill. That's what you helped Dirk Nowitzki with. You know what I mean? So it's not like he was getting all-star players or opening up cap space and all this other stuff there. And now I go back to Tyson Chandler. He didn't want to sign Tyson Chandler to possibly chase Deron Darren Williams, and Dwight Howard. Neither of those guys he got. Neither. So how does that help your Hall of Fame player? It doesn't. So you're planning the next move without making the right move. And it hurt his team tremendously. Now let's move on to signing Chandler Parsons in 2014. Of course, everyone was shocked to see that signing happening. Everyone was like, why are you paying this guy, roughly $17 million a year? What are you doing? Like, what are you doing? Like, how is this even going to help? And, of course, Chandler Parsons had his good years in Houston. Very good three-point shooter, very good scorer, a solid scorer as a third option. Ability to play make a little bit. And you thought that you were going to bring that into the Dallas Mavericks, of course. Team him with Dirk, a guy that can spot up, play, make a little bit. Cool. I'm not mad at that signing. Of course, everybody was like, why are you doing this? And Chandler Parsons played all right for Dallas. He got hurt later in that whole stint there. So that I'm not going to kill Mark Cuban for that move. I can understand what he was trying to do. Have a guy that was emerging as a player come in next to Dirk, play with him, the market, whatever the case may be, and build it up. So that's 2014. 2015, he put all his chips on the table, and he chased Deandre Jordan. Now, Deandre Jordan was the part of the Lob City with the LA Clippers, and was able to make some all NBA teams. I believe he made one All-Star team. And that was a fiasco. Like, that was bad. That was all over national TV. basically verbally agreeing. DeAndre Jordan verbally agreed with the Dallas Mavericks 4 years to $80 million. And the Los Angeles Clippers front office basically said, yeah, that's not happening. And they basically essentially kidnapped him and held him hostage and basically convinced him to re-sign with the Los Angeles Clippers, which I thought was crazy because I didn't think DeAndre Jordan was that valuable. Of course, he was great because he was a defensive player, defensive stopper, rim protector, lob threat, all that stuff that would be needed in today's NBA. But at that time, DeAndre Jordan, no. He wasn't worth all that for. Not in my opinion. So DeAndre Jordan makes a couple All-NBA teams. I believe he makes All-NBA first team in 2016. 2015, he makes third team, and then 2017, he makes third team, I believe. So there was some promising there with the Clippers, but I think that was more of a product of his environment, playing with Chris Paul, Blake Griffin, Doc Rivers as the coach, et cetera, JJ Redick, all those guys there. I think that was more of a product of his environment, more than anything else. So you miss out on that, and then there's just the down years of Dirk Nowitzki on his way out, right? Like Dirk Nowitzki played on a couple lottery teams, and nothing came from it. There was Ronnie Bouwaz and all these other guys that you tried to bring in that just didn't elevate and help Dirk in his waning years. So all that stuff happens.